Today I am so excited to have my friend Paulette Meyer with us. Paulette is a knitter extraordinaire, and what she says, it's yarn to the people, and we need to find out more. People in town call her the nitty-gritty yarn girl. I don't know that there's anything nitty-gritty about Paulette, but she's lovely, warm, vivacious, has a fabulous philosophy about life, and she definitely has a story worth telling. So I'd like to introduce and welcome my friend Paulette Meyer. Paulette, thank you so much for being my guest on Stories Worth Telling today.
Well, thank you, Kate. I'm excited to be here. I was thrilled when you asked me to join you.
Oh, this is great. And you brought some yarn here today, some beautiful knit pieces. They're just little skeins of yarn,
Yeah,
right?
you know what, we talk about, when we talk a little bit more about our business, I think that one of the things that's important is how you attract people. There's such a broad spectrum of fiber that's available. And so I just thought I'd bring a couple of things to show you about the yarns that we carry at Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl.
And look at you today, this beautiful, is it a shawl?
This is called the Opposite Views shawl. And it was designed by a woman, Felicia De Bono, and she lives in Italy.
Oh, wow.
And she just came up, the idea is this is called mosaic knitting. And so this is a combination of two different colors, of vibrantly contrasted colors to create the look of the design. So this is Opposite Views, and I really do love it. We've knitted it as a knit along. And a knit along is when several knitters get together to all create the same project.
Nice.
And there could be a variety of different yarns that they're using and a variety of colors, but we're all working on the same thing at the same time. And we've been able to do that via Zoom classes.
I was just going to ask you how you did it. Was it FaceTime or Zoom?
Yeah, we do Zooms, and so that allows us to have people from all over the country.
That is amazing.
So they get to meet each other at the same time that they're working on the same project.
Beautiful. That's
and
absolutely
on this
beautiful.
one, the really fun thing about it was that the designer joined us.
Nice.
So from Italy, she was with us on the Zoom and talked about her inspiration for the work and things like that. So that's how this happened.
So you had the designer, but then you also have the architect, the creator of each of the
Correct.
different pieces. So that is just so beautiful. And then to do it as a community, I think, just makes it that much better. It takes it to a whole nother level.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the community today has kind of grown exponentially.
Well, I remember meeting you a few years ago, and you just had the cutest little, I don't know if you can see this, a little bus, a little nitty-gritty yarn girl bus. And it kind of reminded me of mobile libraries that we used to have when I was a kid. But I walked into your studio, bus shop, I'm not sure what it was.
At home or in the bus?
It was on the street someplace.
Oh yeah, it was probably at the farmers market, the winter farmers market at Smith's Acres.
Exactly, but the fibers, the smell, I had to touch everything, and so beautifully displayed and lovely the way you had it all outlined. So
and that's the back of the bus. You can see on the back side of it.
So cute, yeah. Then we've got all these little lambs that, it's taking the wool off of their bodies and then making it into beautiful fabrics that keep us warm when they no longer need it.
That's right.
It's just such a beautiful thing that you do.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I wanted to ask you, how did you get started? When did you get started, and why? So some really big questions here.
Well, the when did I get started knitting? I was very lucky. My mom's mom loved to crochet.
Nice.
I spent a lot of time with her. So she taught me to crochet when I was about 8. My father's mom knitted, and she taught me how to knit.
Nice.
So at a very young age, I had the basics of the crafting, the two crafts. My grandparents, my mother's family, owned, you talked about the mobile libraries. My grandparents owned a grocery store and mobile grocery stores.
Oh, nice.
So my grandpa was a peddler.
Mm-hmm.
And
Also an entrepreneur, though, too, and thinking outside of the box to how to get his product into people's houses.
Interesting, yes, so true. And so he would take old school buses, and I mean, my memory goes back a long way with this. I remember going on school trips in first grade, and all my friends stopping on my grandfather's bus to get goodies to go on the trip.
Nice.
And he'd fill everybody's bag with fruits and candies and send us all off.
Where was this?
This is in New Jersey.
New Jersey,
yes,
okay.
Yeah, so I'm not born in Connecticut.
That's okay.
Oh, no.
You lived here for a while.
But I brought my family tradition here.
I love
which
that.
I do love. So anyway, Grandpa had the bus, and he would go from neighborhood to neighborhood throughout probably 3 or 4 towns, maybe even more than that, delivering his wares. Well, that bus then grew into all the boys in the family, 4 of them, having their own buses and their own routes. So
and continuing to sell food.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So as I went on in life, I loved that idea of bringing groceries, food to the people.
I love that.
And so when I was deciding what I was going to do in my retirement years.
Oh, wow. You're really retired. I can tell you.
I know. Isn't that funny? When I was deciding what I was going to do in my retirement years, I said, I think I knew I wanted to do something with knitting. My goal was originally something that makes people happy.
Yes.
And
keeps them warm and
Right,
comforted.
right.
And
So this was it. So I said, okay, so I'm going to take the bus and the yarn, and I'm going to create a mobile yarn shop. And that's what I did. And so our
and you
tagline,
had it painted with beautiful
yeah.
lambs,
Yeah.
and the design of it's impeccable, and the interior of it is just so, like I already said, engaging and welcoming.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's a very inviting place, and people love the bus. So our concept was, we don't have brick and mortar.
No.
So the bus travels to the knitters, whether we're at fiber festivals. You can book the bus for a party, a shopping party.
Oh, that would be fun.
A knitting party, a learn to knit party. I mean, so we let your imagination take the reins.
Let me interrupt you for just a second, because if I was wanting to do a fundraiser for the veterans or some nonprofit that I was involved with, would we be able to do that, where we could get a bunch of people together, some of my friends who like to knit at different levels, and then some percentage would go to...
That's exactly how it works.
Wow.
Exactly how
And
it
it's
works.
a party. It's fun. You're hanging out.
Right. And so it's no different than your other home parties, whether they be Tupperware or whatever. It's or jewelry. Whatever the sales are, the hostess would then get a discount percentage-wise on their purchases. If it's a fundraiser, that percentage goes to the charity of their choice.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to book one of those. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we found out a bit about when you started and why. I think you're building community. Tell me more about that.
Well, we started on a very local level. The bus was meant to travel lower New England and Connecticut into New York. So the bus has gone to Staten Island. It's gone up as far. It's gone into Rhode Island, Massachusetts. So we were local. We did local. To get started, we did local farmers markets out in Durham, in Ledyard. We did Niantic. So to get the word out and get for people to know us, that community grew, interestingly, during COVID.
One of the good things, there weren't many good things that happened during COVID, but one of the good things, I think, is your kind of craft. Is it a craft? It's an art. It's both.
Well, it's both. It's both.
So developing that, because people had some downtime and we needed to occupy our minds and our hands and then build community on top of that. So you did all 3 of those things so beautifully.
Yeah, well, COVID came along and we had fiber festivals set up. We were going into Springfield, and we had just lots and lots of places on the books, which meant we had lots and lots of inventory. So I looked at my husband and I said, what are we going to do? How are we going to, I have to do something.
Well, he's a problem solver.
And he said, well, you bring yarn to the people. We're just going to bring yarn to the people online instead of in person.
So changing your
We
mode
we
of
just
operation.
did a little,
yeah.
I hate to use the word pivot, but that's what we did. We just switched things around a little bit, and we just started going consistently online and created a whole new piece of our business. And before you knew it, we went from maybe 1,000 fans on Facebook, and now we have, between Facebook and Instagram is growing slowly, but we have over 3,000 fans.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's absolutely phenomenal.
And so there's a whole community of people out there, not just locally, but globally. And Paul always says we went from mobile to global
I
during
like that.
COVID, and we really did.
It's kind of a tongue twister, though,
Yeah.
mobile to global.
Not when you say it as much as we do.
So it's a local yarn ship, just a mouse click away.
Yes.
A
yes.
local yarn shop,
Yarn shop.
just a mouse click away.
And the reason we say that is because when you buy yarn, oftentimes there's a project involved, and you may have some glitches along the way. You might have some problems understanding the pattern. You would like to know that you could go to your local yarn shop and talk to them, but because you can't walk in our doors, what you can do is call us, Zoom with us, FaceTime with us, and we will help you through that pattern. So we never leave you alone.
Nice.
As far as you buy from us, we stay with you because we want you to stay with us.
Of course.
And the only way to build that community is to be loyal to the community.
Absolutely. And you're doing that.
Yeah, we do love it.
Oh, that's great. And is there anything that you have your studio, and your studio is just a walk-in studio that has some of your yarns, and you can see the different knitting that you have on display. But the thing that I loved about it, when I went into your studio, I was just so impressed by how warm it felt in the couch. And I just felt like I needed to curl my feet up under my legs and sip a cup of tea and just really enjoy the presence of being in that environment. There's just something so soothing about that.
Well, what happened was when we had to go online, we had to find a way to bring all the displays and everything to the web. So my husband set up an unfinished basement. We had that whole thing finished. And with his design work, we had, we got it all done, and we set it up like a little yarn shop. It looks like a yarn shop, but it's really just like this filming studio. It's a filming studio.
Nice.
And so you were gracious enough to come ask to see it, and so we do let people tour the studio, and we have a great time, and it makes people see better. Get a better feel for what we have when we are online. But everything you see in the studio is also on the bus.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of a duplicate.
Absolutely. And you bring the bus to the people. Now tell me, you have a festival. Like, what is a fiber festival? You have some fiber festivals scheduled, and they're probably a recurring kind of event. Tell me about that.
So fiber festivals are run throughout the year, all across the country. We stay pretty local to New England and New York, into New Jersey. But the fiber festivals are a place where a lot of spinners and dyers get together and sell their wares.
Okay.
So it's like going to a big trade show.
Okay.
And so we'll bring our yarns and we'll set up displays. And this one that's coming up is 2 days. It's this weekend. It's at the Mallory Center at the Eastern States Exposition in West Springfield.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be there for Saturday and Sunday. And then after that, the next weekend, we go to Water's Edge Resort in Westbrook, where we're hosting a retreat.
Nice.
And what's really exciting about the retreat is that we have fans from all over the country coming, meeting each other for the first time.
For the first time.
Some meeting each other for the second time because they were at our last retreat. And they're there for a weekend of relaxation and knitting. They're called friendship retreats.
Nice.
No classes, just friendship, knitting, fun, games, and some charity.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, we do a fundraiser while we're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about the philosophy that you have brought into your knitting and the work that you're doing.
Well, I'm a firm believer in, I try to keep negativity out of my life.
Which is hard to do.
Yes, yes. I choose to surround myself with positive people. That's not always easy, because all of us has a bad day every now and then.
course.
But it's the inner person that's most important. And family tradition follows me. My grandmother, people used to, my grandma who was a crocheter, had the store, used to sing all day. People would say to her, Rosie, why are you singing? She said, because I'm happy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I like happy. But my philosophy is not to hold on to things that bring you down. You know, we all have glitches in life.
Of course.
I love to read and am inspired by Deepak Chopra. Deepak is one of his favorite expressions that I use all the time is let it go.
Let it go.
Just let it go. If it's not good in your life, let it go. And we actually have an expression in our home when either my husband or I are talking about something that's weighing us down. We say, what would Deepak do?
Oh, nice.
And we say, just let it go.
Let it go.
Just let it go. So my philosophy is to surround myself with positive people, positive things, positive energy, and let it go if it's not working.
Well, and then you're spreading that too. You're developing that as a community. You're instilling it and supporting it within yourself, but then you're also building it not just in our town, but in our state, in the country, across the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you speak English or not. You follow the pattern and you create a beautiful product at the end.
And patterns are created in so many languages. I mean, I've learned so much about the design, how the different designers are inspired, how they create a pattern, how that pattern then gets written, how the written pattern then gets knitted, or vice versa, it gets knitted first and the pattern gets written, and then it gets tested, and by the time it gets to us crafters, to where it's pretty much perfect. And all we have to do is whatever it tells us to do, and makes life easy for us.
That's
So,
nice.
from simple to intricate, just follow the pattern.
Follow the
Like
pattern.
anything else in life. You're cooking, follow the recipe.
Follow the recipe, right? Because people have tried these things out and they know that it's been tried and tested.
Right.
So.
And sometimes you'll add a little of this and a little of that in your recipe when you're cooking.
And the same with knitting.
And it's the same thing with knitting. I might add a little row of something at the end if I think it's going to make it look a little bit better. But it's still that designer gave me that inspiration.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you can't knit or can't do?
Well, I think there's probably always something we can't do, but I think if we, people say, "Oh, I can't knit." Well, it's because you don't want to enough. If you want to do something enough,
You'll do it.
work at it. I was a triathlete for several years. When I decided I wanted to compete, I couldn't swim 25 yards. I had taken swim classes as a child, but I didn't know how to swim. But I wanted to compete in triathlons, so I learned.
Good for you.
And I can say today that it was something I wanted to do, and I did it. And I did it for several years. It was a big part of my life. It helped with self-confidence. And it was a challenge at times because swimming was always a challenge. But if you want something badly enough, you learn how to do it. So there are things that I have chosen not to learn yet. And then there are things that I've learned and I said, well, I'm glad I did that and I don't ever have to do it again.
Check that off your list.
Check that off the list. Motorcycle, good, did that, been there, done that, and you move on to something else. And so, all those things work to help us become who we are.
Absolutely. And tell me the value of the work that you're doing. I know that there's a lot of yarn that is sold at different places, and yours is I just have to touch it. I'm a very tactile person, but So, what is the difference between your yarn and what I might find at a local shop that maybe doesn't specialize in yarn? What is the difference?
Well, we have big box stores, and then we have specialty shops. It's like anything that you sell. So your big box stores carry quantity. Their value is to a certain customer. And that's great, because I believe that every fiber has its place. Every yarn has its place. If I want to knit something and I want to use a specific fiber, then whether it's man-made or natural, that's what I draw myself to. We deal with natural fibers as much as possible. There you may find an acrylic blend in there. And it doesn't have to be overly expensive for it to be a natural fiber. It just needs to be more natural. There's more wool, for example, cotton, than there is acrylic in there, or a viscose, something that's not, although viscose is made from natural products. But so we carry more natural fibers, wools, silk. And I had to make that decision when I started my business.
It makes it more expensive, perhaps.
It does,
but it's a better quality.
I have a 25-foot bus.
So you
I have very limited space. So I had to decide what I wanted to do. And that evolved, too. You start with a little bit of everything.
You don't know.
And you see what works.
Right.
And you keep doing what works, and then you stop doing what doesn't
work.
And so eventually you come around to what you carry. So there are some large distributors that I work with that carry many brands. And so they when I meet with those, I have a large variety of things to work with. When I work with the smaller distributors, they're more specialized with what they have.
Okay, and what is the beauty of the natural products? Is it something that's going to last longer, wear better, or feel better on your body?
It's going to, yes. Yeah, it's definitely going to last longer. It's going to have more body. It's going to hold up better. But it does require more care.
So hand wash with woolite or something of that effect.
Yeah, just be a little careful with it.
Lay it out flat, right.
We've all had that situation where we've put something in the washing machine we shouldn't have.
Exactly.
And it came out. And where it wouldn't even fit a child, because what it does is what's called felting. It felts the fiber. And it then creates a whole different fabric, because we go from fiber to fabric when we knit. Yeah.
Very nice. So you do retreats, you're yarn to the people, you do work with charity, you've grown during COVID, and you have your van and your studio. What else?
Well, we're talking about charity.
Yes.
I've been a supporter of an organization called Sunshine Kids for many years.
Oh, tell me about Sunshine Kids. I don't know about that.
Oh, it's a great organization. Sunshine Kids is based in Houston, Texas. They work with hospitals all over the country.
Oh.
And what they do is they provide trips for kids with cancer. Now, where they're different than other organizations that do this is that Sunshine Kids does not include family. Like you'll see lots of them where the whole family goes on a trip. These are just all kids with nurse chaperones. There's always a local hospital involved that's always on hand for the kids. And so they provide trips. And I got involved with them back in, I guess it was 2000, 2001. And I became very close to the kids and to the organization. I've gone on trips with them.
Nice.
I've been with them to New York City, Florida, and to see the joy in the children's eyes, and for them to be with other kids who understand what they're going through. So it's a whole group of them, like, I need to take my chemo medication, I need to go for treatment
It
while we're here.
normalizes it for
Exactly.
them because they have other people experiencing the same thing that they're experiencing.
Yeah, so that's what the organization is all about. And so once I retired, I remained friends of that charity. And so when we do a fundraiser, that's usually the charity that we raise for. But that doesn't mean that we're not open to others. It's just that it's my favorite. My heart is
Sure,
with
yeah,
them.
yeah. Well,
And
we all have
so
our
we do
pet
that.
project.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. So one of the things that we did during COVID, because the kids couldn't go on trips, was I did Zoom knitting classes.
Oh, with the children. And how old are they?
They were, I think the youngest was about 8.
That's amazing.
And the oldest was probably 16. So we did classes, several different sets of them. And what I do in those cases is I send them the yarn and the knitting already started.
Nice. So they don't have to yarn on.
They don't, right. They don't have to think, they don't have to learn that part. They just learn one stitch. And what we did through the classes is each time we went through 4 different classes, and at the end of the 4th class, they had an ear warmer.
Oh, so sweet.
So they didn't just learn a stitch, they created something.
A project. I think it's always good to have something in mind for your end outcome.
Right, whether it's a pot holder, a coaster, or an ear warmer. At least they learned how to work with the yarn. They learned how to take the yarn, bind off, take it off the needle, and then sew it up.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really sweet. I
So,
really like that.
I enjoy that. I enjoy working with them. They're fun.
Oh, that's great. Well, we only have a couple of minutes left, and I know this time has just been so precious, so you'll have to come back again. But I'm also thinking about people as they age. You're keeping people alert. They're learning to keep track of their knitting, whether they knit to purl, yarn on, yarn off, what they need to do, pass over, that kind of thing.
Yep.
There's a certain level of mental dexterity, I'm thinking, as well as with your hands and keeping yourself agile.
Right.
Do you want to speak to that for a minute?
Well, they do say that if you're working with especially dementia patients, because I have a friend who worked in geriatric care all her career, and she said with dementia patients where she specialized, you can't teach them to knit, but if you put knitting needles in their hands and give them some yarn, they will work with it.
To create something.
Yes, and it's just the movement and the motion and there's a lot of comfort and stress relief.
So their
in that.
serotonin levels go down.
Absolutely, absolutely. And whether it's working with patients in nursing homes or adult care, or just we in our own crafting communities and in our own home, continuing to knit to keep ourselves alert and aware.
Well,
It's
you know what
really
they're
important.
doing? They're letting it go.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
They're letting it go. Whatever is kind of sticking in their head for what's wrong or what they're upset about,
Yep.
they're letting it go.
Yeah. Well, I always say knitting is stress relieving. Learning to knit is stress creating. So you have to go through one to get to the other.
Right. But in the end, you just make such beautiful things.
Oh, we
and
love it.
You're making a better, more beautiful world. So thank you for your contribution.
Oh, thank you. And I love our community. I hope it just continues to grow.
I hope so too. Thank you again, Paulette.
My pleasure.